your man, because for me, it's like I do so much. I was looking for somebody to check on me. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
I said, because I'm going to say it like this. Postpartum is not talked about enough, and we don't support each other enough in that. And it is hard. It is hard, and it is dark. It is very dark. And you know, it's dark. So sometimes just because I might look nice and pretty on the outside doesn't mean that I don't have internal damage going on the inside. Because I woke up, I cooked for everybody, I fed everybody, and I realized it's 4 o'clock. I didn't eat a thing. And nobody even asked me if I ate a thing. Baby on the titty all day, she good, she chunky and fed, and here I am, starving, malnourished, losing my ass.
Jasmin.
It's hard.
It's real.
It's really hard, and I think that it just goes back to your support system.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. I want to say this first and foremost. Jasmin's Brown statement about she loves to serve her man, it's not rooted in her womanhood. It's not rooted in her motherhood. It's not rooted in the fact that she just loves this particular aspect. I find this statement with Jasmin specifically being one of an attachment issue. I believe it to be an anxious attachment issue. Reason being is some of the quotes that she said. She wakes up at 5:30 a.m. She breastfeeds, she cooks, she cleans, she feeds everybody. Everybody else is a top of the pile when it comes to priorities. And she says that not one person asked her if she ate. That's a self-abandonment. Jasmin Brown says she loves to serve her man, that it gives her joy and gives her purpose. But behind the smile, there's a deeper truth. She said, I look good on the outside, but you don't know I've got internal pain within. She self-abandons again. She's burnt out. She's in postpartum. She's crying out for someone to check up on her, and no one is checking up on her, right? And then this is said, this is, and I'll say this is what happens when women with anxious attachments start to believe that their value is in their servitude and not in who they actually are. If you are somebody who serves everybody else and you are literally drowning, but you want to save other people, you're literally on fire, but you want to put the fire out on other people, you're literally broke, but you want to make sure someone else ain't broke. If you're always over-identifying with other people's problems and issues, you more than likely have got an anxious attachment. You find value in serving. And that comes from a place of survival, not actual love. It comes from a place of fear, not actual love. And so when love becomes a performance, and when it begins to hide the self-abandonment that you're doing and the emotional neglect, and even sometimes the physical neglect of yourself, and you've got this ride or die energy, which now she has a second child with Cam Newton while all of this is going on, well, then we have to look deeper. And you have to look deeper. So I'm going to break it all the way down for you guys using Jasmin Brown here in terms of what she said. Okay. All right. Because she has told us several times that she loves to serve her man. So let me go back in this video because I want to be able to go a little bit deeper in what was actually said.
It's funny that you
by her, right?
that you didn't check on your man.
Oh, I'm going to play it bit by bit, and I'm going to break it down for you guys, okay? So let's just go back into this video. Let's just go back into this video and break it down. And before I do, I want to explain what I mean by anxious attachment. The anxious attachment is a coined term by John Bowlby, Mary Ainsworth. These are British psychologists, John Bowlby first, and then Mary Ainsworth. And what they found out is that they were experimenting with young kids, not like that, but experimenting with young kids, watching how they deal with separation anxiety. How would a child respond when a parent is present and then leaves and then comes back? And what they found out was there were 3 responses at first, how children would react. They were secure, the children that were okay with the parent being present and playing happily, but the parent might leave and they might look for the parent, but then they are okay knowing the parent's going to come back. Parent comes back and they are happy to resume what they're doing. Then there was the anxious people. The parent will be there, the child will be playing, the parent leaves, and the child is now searching anxiously, where is that parent? Because they're afraid of abandonment. And then there was the avoidant children. The avoidant children, when the parent was there, they were indifferent. When the parent left, they were indifferent. When the parent came back, they were indifferent. Why? Because the child in that particular space had realized its emotional needs weren't going to get met. So they actually stopped paying attention to the caregiver because only they can supply their own needs, which is why hyper independence comes. But their core wound is rejection. So Mary Ainsworth came up later on and then developed the fourth one, which is dysfunctional or disorganized or fearful avoidance, who carry both the anxious and the avoidant traits. They blow hot and they blow cold, and their fear is betrayal, their rejection, and abandonment. And actually, their core thought is, I'm never good enough. But we're talking about the anxious people. The anxious people who say things like Jasmin Brown does, who always over-identify with relationships outside of themselves. The anxious person is born into a household where, in their household, they had irregular parenting. The parent was, let's say, hot and cold. The parent was, was a loving parent, but maybe wasn't always present, right? The parent was a caring parent, but they would be sometimes, irregular in the way that they would show love and show affection, right? The child had inconsistencies with that particular parent. And what they found is that the child learned that through those inconsistencies, they were afraid of abandonment. And so the children learn that in order to keep the affection coming, they're going to have to serve. They're going to have to do something that keeps the parent close, because something beforehand kept the parent coming in and going out, which causes the feeling of anxiety on that particular child, right? So someone like Jasmin Brown, I don't know her background, but what she's saying is definitely in alignment with an anxious person, because she over-identifies with servitude. I love serving my man. And yet now we're hearing what she's saying. Let's just play a little by little.
Because for me, it's like, I do so much. I was looking for somebody to check on me. Ooh.
Let's pause it right there. Why was she doing so much? Because anxious people consistently are trying to prove that they're worthy of love. And so what they do is they serve in the hopes of keeping you close. If I can show you my value through my servitude, you'll love me, you'll care about me, and you'll be present with me. Okay. But what ends up happening is anxious people tend to over-identify, meaning they start identifying with your needs rather than their own. They pedestalize your needs rather than their own. And this is actually what ends up happening. And they start choosing people who are avoidant people. Why? Because the avoidant person gives them the opportunity to prove that they're worthy. Why? Because the avoidant person is overwhelmed by the clinginess of the anxious person. And so the avoidant then says, I've got to go. This is too much for me. And they don't like the emotional closeness. They pull away. The anxious person's like, oh my God, they're pulling away. They're going to abandon me. And the anxious person runs after the avoidant person to prove that they're worthy. Why? Because how they're able to do that is because if they capture, or the avoidant person comes back when they chase after them, then it proves that they're worthy. If I run after you and I catch you, and somebody who's always a runner comes back, then it means I'm worthy. But the problem is, that's a cycle, because the avoidant person is going to feel overwhelmed and feel clingy and feel like you're doing too much and feel like there's too much emotional closeness and run off again. And it becomes this vicious cycle. But what Jasmin Brown is talking about is no one's checking up on her. Why? Because you're not asking people to check up on you. You haven't set up that boundary. See, anxious people don't set up the boundary of people checking up on them because they are constantly checking up on other people. They've made it a priority in all their relationships to be Samson who holds the pillars together. All their friendships, all their meetups, all organization is done by them, as she's going to say to us.
You know what I'm saying? Word. I said, because I'm going to say it like this. Postpartum is not talked about enough, and we don't support each other enough in that, and it is hard.
Now, I want to pause it right here because she said something really interesting. She said postpartum, right? And I want to make it clear. Postpartum is a part of this, but the reality of the situation is postpartum is not why she's doing what she's doing. She's saying that she supports everybody else and forgets about herself. That is somebody who's anxious. But not only that, she then put it on the audience as a womanhood. We don't support each other enough. No, your man needs to support you. Your man needs to support you. That's who needs to support you. She actually can't even identify that the person who's in a relationship with her is supposed to be the one supporting her. But as she's going to let us know, nobody asks if she's eating today. Why? Because the man is not caring about you like that. And also because you probably never said anything. Because anxious people tend to try and hope that the person will just witness, understand, and know. It doesn't work like that, right? We've got to be able to assert ourselves.
It is hard and it is dark. It is very dark. And it's
Absolutely.
dark. So sometimes just because I might look nice and pretty on the outside doesn't mean that I don't have internal damage going on the inside. Because I woke up.
Yep, and that's another thing that anxious people will go through. Anxious people will suffer in silence because they don't want to seem like a burden. One of their biggest fears is, I'm going to be a burden to people. I'm going to be overwhelming for people. I'm going to be too much for people. Right? That's why they're always trying to prove that they're worthy of love. And that's how they get caught up in relationships of avoidance. Someone like Cam Newton. Why? Because their greatest fear is going to be confirmed. Their confirmational bias is going to be confirmed by their avoidant. They believe that I'm too much of a burden for people. I'm overwhelming for people. Dagger, dagger, dagger. Right? And then the avoidant person runs away because they are overburdening the avoidant person and says, like, see, I've proven it. Right? But then the subconscious mind is like, but I need to still feel worthy of love. So they chase to prove that, you know, they're worthy of this love. It's a vicious cycle, right? A really vicious cycle.
I cooked for everybody, I fed everybody, and I realized it's 4 o'clock. I didn't eat a thing. And nobody even asked me if I ate a thing.
Now, why is nobody asking you if you ate a damn thing? Well, first and foremost, that's Cam Newton's job, not my job, right? But why did nobody ask you if you ate a damn thing? Because no one else is in that household apart from you and Cam Newton and the kids. So who else can ask you, right? No one else, right? It's not, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, maybe ladies do it oftentimes and ask you, have you eaten today? So maybe that's why. But in reality, the issue here is that no one's identifying your needs because you're not identifying them. Anxious people put their needs off to supply other people's. You are the mother, you are the chef, you are the babysitter, you are the sex fiend for Cam. You know what I'm saying to you? Probably his organizer. You're doing everything for him and forgetting about yourself. That self-abandonment where you release yourself of your needs and apply everybody else's and fight to get their needs met in the hope that somebody will return the favor for you is not how life works. You need to put yourself as a priority number one.
Baby on the titty all day, she good, she chunky and fed, and here I am, starving, malnourished, losing my ass.
Jasmin.
It's hard.
It's real.
It's really hard, and I think that it just goes back to your support system.
Okay, cool. Let's leave that there. Okay. So my thing is this, right? For anybody who's watching this, if you identify with always abandoning your needs and always trying to serve people and always want to be that person that keeps friendships together, you've probably got an anxious attachment. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Before you click off this video, click on the description box down below. Book yourself in for a discovery call. It's free. Okay. Let's see if we can work together. Right? Because I really want to begin to help people heal, because there's no way you should be self-abandoning and putting everybody else's needs on a pedestal to the point where you're exhausted. And not only are you going to be exhausted, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be angry, you're going to be pissed off. Okay? All right? And this is going to create problems. And I'm going to do a part 2 of this video because I think it's really important too, right? But I wanted to just bring this to you so you can understand that this is not normal. You don't have to accept this. And this actually can change. You can begin to heal this aspect. We need to develop our boundaries. We need to develop emotional safety. We need to develop emotional language. We need to develop emotional connectivity, because anxious people are overgivers and they don't actually receive very well. That's why they're always in a servitude mode. And so actually, when you begin to even give them back what they want, they actually don't even want it because they're still not healed, because receiving feels odd for them, right? And what value do they have if they're always receiving and not giving? That's why they meet people who take from them, because they're always giving. But that's another story for another day. We'll break that in part 2. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Make sure as well, if you're somebody who's an anxious person or you're identifying what you're hearing with Jasmin Brown, you book yourself in for discovery call. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. We'll talk for 30 minutes. Let's see how we best can serve you, see if we can meet your expectations, and see how best we can also help you grow. Because that's what we're going to do 2025, baby. I appreciate